It's the New Normal Podcast with Adam Brandt. So here we are, episode 1, season 1. It's the New Normal Podcast, and we're going to start it off by talking about these 3 crazy dudes that, you know, they're somehow connected, but not really connected. First one is Luigi Mangiani, the genius killer, the healthcare CEO guy. I mean, what was this dude's problem, man? And a bigger question is, what the fuck is wrong with us, the way we've sort of put this kid on a pedestal? Here he is, walking around New York City, renting bicycles, flirting with ladies, and then he walks up behind poor Brian Thompson that morning and just shoots him in cold blood. I mean, that's just fucked up. I own a food truck, and I flip burgers all summer long, and I can't imagine someone getting so upset with burgers that they come and gun me down. I mean, that's really the gist of it here is Brian Thompson had a job, he was doing his job, and he got killed for it. Because some fucking asshole with a 3D printer, that's a whole nother story, the 3D printer. I mean, who goes around with plastic guns? Is it, maybe it's me, I don't know. Are these things not traceable? Are they, can you get through an x-ray with it? What's the deal with making a plastic gun? Because last I heard, they didn't make plastic bullets. So I'm thinking, okay, he made it through the metal detector with the plastic gun, but then in his left pocket, he had a whole bunch of metal bullets. And once you go through the x-ray machine and they see these metal bullets, they're like, okay, sir, why don't you empty out your other pocket? And sure enough, there's this plastic gun. I mean, I don't get it. Especially if you're traveling by bus. I didn't see any reason for him to print out his own gun instead of just using a regular one. I mean, I watch the news quite often, and to me it seems getting your hands on a untraceable gun from somebody, the trunk of their car or wherever these kids are buying them, seems pretty simple. And if you had planned to catch a bus and not a plane, why don't you just go grab a gun that you know works instead of printing one out? I don't want to be the guy that's like, hey, I printed this gun out here. I'm going to go, I think I'm going to go try it out there in the woods. Hey, has anyone seen Adam? Yeah, he was going out to try that gun he printed, and we haven't seen him in 3 days. I mean, that'd be my luck. I'd print one, and the thing would fucking backfire in my face. Anyhow, we're getting off track here. So Luigi, I guess, had developed a hatred for healthcare. It's a damn shame that a guy just can't go about his job and not have to worry about some crazed lunatic killing him over it. Was Brian Thompson a good dude? Hell, we don't know. Did he make some decisions in his job that affected regular people like you and me? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Evidently everything's controlled by AI now. So this guy isn't making it. He goes around, he probably makes good money. He goes around touting things, healthcare shit to investors at meetings. I mean, it's a totally different lifestyle than burger flipper like me is used to. Is Brian Thompson a good guy? I don't know. I mean, you'd have to ask his wife and kids, and I'm sure they'd say, maybe my dad was an asshole sometimes, but he surely didn't deserve to get gunned down in the middle of New York City. I mean, jeez, that shit is fucked up, man. This guy's just like, hey, I'm gonna throw on my blue jacket this morning and grab me a donut and walk over there and talk to some investors. Oh no, you're not. Here comes Luigi. He's all hyped up on Starbucks, and he's got his little plastic printed gun. Jeez, who would have seen it coming? None of us. And to be that brazen, walking around New York City where there's more cameras than a 3D porn shoot. I mean, it didn't matter what angle this guy was gonna get caught, and he knew it. Hey, I don't care. I'm gonna smile with the lady. Hey, I'm Luigi. Hey, I'm the kid with the smile. I got my nice expensive backpack. I'm a good guy. Look at me smile. Give me the room. Give me a Starbucks. Give me a water. Hey, Luigi. And it surely didn't help that the way the authorities handled bringing Luigi in. I mean, he almost got away with it. That's fucking crazy. He's on camera doing all this shit, riding bikes, grabbing Starbucks, staying at the hostel, going to Central Park. I mean, he almost got away with it. The investigators were in Atlanta, and here's dude sitting there eating a McHash brown in Pennsylvania. They didn't have a name. And if I'm as smart as Luigi, I start thinking maybe I wasn't that smart. I mean, who the fuck drops the backpack in Central Park, gets in the cab, gets on the bus, nobody knows where he is, and then they catch him a few days later, and he's got all the shit. He's got the gun, he's got the IDs. I mean, he could have got rid of that anywhere. I don't get it. Was his plan to get caught? Did he think, maybe I'm going to like prison? I've heard some great things about it. Maybe prison is the place for me. I mean, it's so hard to figure these people out because normal human beings just can't comprehend the evil inside others. I don't know about back pain like that. I'm 45 years old. Yes, I have some aches and pains every day of my life. I've never been in so much pain that I'm like, I think I'm going to go kill somebody. I mean, it's just never crossed my mind, and I'm sure it's never crossed any of your minds either. I mean, when all this went down, we're all thinking, okay, this professional hitman was hired by, I don't know, like, were we thinking he was hired by a rival healthcare company or, a jaded ex-wife or jaded present wife or what, I mean, our minds go so fucking crazy when shit like this happens. We're like, okay, dude shot, some assassin walks up to him in the middle of the morning, shoots him in the back, guy turns around, I don't know, did he shoot him in the face too? It's crazy. And the dude just takes off in the middle of the night. And we're like, okay, this had to be a pro. And here we are. We're all thinking he's a pro. Is that just because we're conditioned to think anybody who does something that brazen must have been trained to do it? Or are we that incapable of understanding the human psyche that someone's that pissed off and they're going to just go kill somebody at 6 something in the morning in New York City? What's crazy is, how we've reacted. We figured out he wasn't a pro. We've pretty well figured out he's not as genius as he thought he was. And the only thing he's really got going for him is the smile, the eyebrows, and I guess the 6-pack abs. So, I mean, what I'm thinking here is if you want to be a murderer, you better be good looking. Because if you're ugly, I mean, you're fucked. They're going to just lock you up, throw away the key. And the authorities are like, hey, we'll spend millions of dollars to parade this fucking little prick around because he's good looking. I mean, remember, they bring him in on the dang helicopter and they're perp walking him down the street and we're all like, oh my gosh, look at Luigi. I can't believe it. They got the guy. Look at, oh my God. Oh, he's got this smug look to him, but he's just so fucking cute. Oh, I bet he's gonna get fucked up the ass in prison and then love it. Oh my God, you thought he had back problems before. Oh, Luigi. This all begs the question, what the fuck is wrong with us? And, and it comes down to, it's the new normal. I mean, it's the new normal is the answer to all of life's questions. Oh, why are eggs so expensive now? It's the new normal. Oh my gosh, there's so much crime out there. Oh, it's the new normal. It's just a new normal. Oh, have you seen the prices of steak? Oh, it's the new normal. Everything is the new normal. I mean, when did this happen? Did COVID make everything the new normal? But it seems to be the blanket answer for when they're force feeding this shit. Hey, you don't like the taste of the shit? Well, get used to it. It's the new normal. The conspiracy theorist inside me, it goes crazy. As many of you probably start thinking the same shit, like, what comes out of this New York City shooting with Luigi? Is it, okay, we got to ban electric bikes because, he got away too fast and we can't trace him. So 3 years from now, we're going to be all riding electric bikes that have license plates on them so they can, when the camera picks it up, they're going to say, oh, yep, there goes Adam on his electric bike again. Or is there going to be new legislation on these ghost guns that are printed with plastic? I don't know. I mean, none of that has came up yet, but oftentimes when these bad crimes happen, there's legislation, and the legislation comes out, and it affects our freedom in the name of living in a safer society. And is it always good? I don't know. I mean, it sort of leads into the next guy, this Shamsuddin Jabbar, who was born here. He went and fought. I mean, how does this guy become a terrorist? I don't know. I just don't get it. The first thing that really came to mind when this Jabbar character, who just pulled off atrocious acts there in New Orleans, and I pray for all the families, because it's just bullshit. We shouldn't have to even worry about these things when we're celebrating and vibing into the new year. What really caught me was the fact that he was inspired by ISIS. We all remember ISIS. We thought we got rid of these guys. I guess we didn't. Remember when Obama was in and they were talking about ISIS, and they're like, oh, fuck it, man. These guys are gone. We got rid of them. The new guy is ISIL. ISIL. I'm like, okay, ISIL. ISIS is gone. Now we have ISIL. A few years go by, COVID, everybody gets sick, dies, gets vaccinated, and guess what? We haven't heard from ISIS. We haven't heard from ISIL. And then random guy from Texas rents an F-150 and drives into a crowd of people. All because of ISIS. I mean, terrorism is always in fashion when it comes to whatever comes next, which will be barricading the sidewalks and barricading the streets. To be honest, we can't barricade every street and every sidewalk in this country in the name of safety. Fuck, man, they're going to try, because we need to feel safe. And that's the job of government, to keep us safe. Maybe we had let our guard down and ISIS has always been running around. We got complacent. We're like, I'm feeling pretty good. We got a new president coming in. The administration, they're going to get some shit done. Finally. Oh, no. Hold up. We need ISIS back. We can't just go about our business and feel safe. We need ISIS. Don't fuck around at the border. Don't worry about what's going on down there. We need ISIS. We've been told the last decade that we don't need to worry about Jabbar. We need to worry about Steve at church. So the whole country's been keeping their eye on Steve and what he's doing Sunday after church, because we've been fed this pile of shit that guys who vote for Trump, the white dude that we got to watch out for. It's white, homegrown, extreme terrorists that are killing everybody. And meanwhile, as we keep an eye on Steve and what he's doing, ISIS is driving into crowds in New Orleans and putting bombs in coolers. This guy, Jabbar, who was evidently broke, living in a little shitty trailer. There's nothing wrong with living in a shitty little trailer. I mean, I'm in Florida right now, and I'm surrounded by trailers, and they're not shitty, and they're great for retirees until a hurricane comes around. But anyhow, this guy is supposedly broke, and then we find out, oh, you traveled to Egypt. Oh, he traveled to Egypt, huh? Who paid for this? ISIS? So we got this broke motherfucker, Jabbar, and he's like, I think I want to join ISIS. So he probably gets on the computer, he pulls up some shit, and starts following some dude. He starts reading their good book. I don't know, is it a good book? To them, they're like, oh, it's a good book. It's a peaceful book. I'm not so sure about that. But anyhow, that's a conversation for another day. So this guy calls up some dude in Egypt. I don't know. Do they have an ISIS travel service? Do you get a free bomb making class with every night at the hotel or week or what? But this guy goes over there for a month. So he goes to Egypt and he enrolls in bomb making 101 for ISIS terrorists. And I don't know if he took the free course or the junior college course, but evidently he was not very proficient, because it's safe to say all the coolers are still intact, which is great news. He was a poor shot with the gun. He was a poor shot with the bombs. And I think he was actually a poor fucking driver, but he just happened upon a street that had too many people. And fuck, man. So here's Jabbar. He's a little different than Luigi. Jabbar is like, hey, I'm going to get a gun. That's a real gun. I'm not going to print. And I'm going to get a real rifle. I'm going to carry that around with me. But sort of like Luigi, he's like, but when it comes to the bomb, I'm gonna make this one myself because I learned really good bomb making stuff when I was over there in Egypt. And I don't know, are there people in Egypt that are like, hey, we're gonna teach you how to make this bomb, but there's no refunds. I don't know, like, is there a fucking bomb making review where maybe he should have went with the other class? I mean, God is good. And he kept his bombs from exploding. And maybe that was the cops that got there. And with their quick thinking, they pulled this fucker out of the car. They pumped him full of lead. He wasn't able to kill anymore. He was a poor shot with the gun. He was a poor bomb maker. And the only thing he did right was drive a fucking truck. And, some of these electric trucks, they could just drive themselves. So maybe he wasn't even driving. I don't know. Has all this talk about, it's the new normal, just made us complacent, and we don't pay attention anymore because we're just so used to everything, and all the shit that we're fed, we just eat it up, we gobble it up, we love it. I mean, 9/11 wasn't even a quarter century ago. I mean, we're coming up on that, but you can't tell me that in the days following up of that some guy could have hung a fucking ISIS flag on the back of a truck and decided to drive around town and nobody was going to say shit or stop him or just, hey guy, is that a fucking ISIS flag on your F-150? What the fuck, bro? I mean, pull the fuck over. We got some questions to ask you. Where is this? It's because, it's the new normal. We just have to accept shit as normal, and it's not normal. Americans shouldn't be driving around with fucking terrorist flags hanging on the back of their trucks, or cars, or bikes, or any mode of transportation. So this guy's like an HR in the Army. He probably had access to a lot of records. I think he was in charge of making sure other Army personnel got paid. I mean, that's dangerous, and maybe he came across some other people. I don't know. When was he? Evidently, he was Islamic his whole life, and he sort of stepped away from the faith, according to a brother, and then he stepped right in it, 100%. I mean, all the way up to his fucking asshole on ISIS. You wonder, how does a U.S. citizen, born here, raised here, get to that point? And that's the question that we're probably going to ask for a long time. I mean, has ISIS came across the border? Sure. There's, the border's open. People are coming across. That's never going to change. But what are we doing to make sure ISIS doesn't blow shit up or drive people over? Maybe we got to be like, hey, once you get in America, once you get across the border, like, hey, have some McDonald's. Have a fucking Coke Zero, get rid of the flags, man. Put on these walking shoes. This is a great place. Maybe they'll forget about why they came here and assimilate. And I'll bet a lot have. I mean, you get over here, it's pretty great. America is pretty great. We got to say that. So how does someone that was born here turn into such an evil fucking prick? I always figured, if you're going to join the military, it's because you loved the country. You love America. You love our values. That's why you join, to fight and make sure we keep these freedoms. Maybe that's not it. Maybe just poor people join because they need a job. And it'd be crazy to think because, we've heard some crazy stories out of this Fort Bragg over the years, and shit's always happening, which leads us into, the next story. I mean, we started with Luigi, then we go to Jabbar, and then we got this Livelsberger character who rented a electric truck from this Turo app that no one's heard, just like the other guy. And you're thinking, well, mate, they're probably connected for sure. I mean, it's just too coincidental that on the same day, a few hours apart, Guys are mowing people down and blowing people up or blowing themselves up, and it's just full of terror. The year started full of terror. And here's Livelsberger. This dude blows himself up. And the best part of this is he didn't kill anybody else. I mean, is it an act of terror if you don't kill anybody else? I don't know. It's just a fucking suicide. And evidently he really enjoyed fireworks to the point where he said, you know what? I think when I go out, I'm going to blow my fucking self up in some fireworks. And I'm going to do it in the most American kind of way possible. I'm going to rent me a Cybertruck, and I'm going to Trump Tower, and I'm going to set these fuckers off like it's the 4th of July. Yee-hoo! This guy was part of a drone program. A few weeks ago, we're all talking about the drones. And then the fog rolled in and sort of said, oh, we can't see the drones anymore because the fog's here. And then they started talking about the bird flu is in the fog, and the fog is keeping the drones, and the aliens are coming for us. And maybe Livelsberg, or Berg, or Matt Berg, however he went by it, had the answers to all that. You know, it came out that he sends acquaintances some emails or texts that he thinks the Chinese are out there with these drones, like looking at us. And he did all this to warn us of what's to come. Is it terrorism if it's a warning to us over the shit that's flying in the sky? I don't know. I mean, that seems pretty patriotic when you start thinking about it. But all we're going to remember is Trump Tower and Cybertruck. I guess Steve at church is sort of like Matt Livelsberger. Matt, being the patriotic American that he is, thought that he had came across some bad shit in his job. And from what it sounds like, he was part of some bad shit over there, you know, blowing some civilians up or something or other. I don't know. And we don't want to get into that. I mean, that's a whole other can of worms, you know. But this guy had seen some shit, that's for sure. The question is, I mean, he had seen some shit, but just because one thing he had seen is true, does that make the second pile of shit true? So, yes, maybe it's true that the government had to do some shit over there, some damage control, la-di-da-di-da. But then on the flip side, he's also trying to say that these drones came out of the submarines in the water, and China's watching over our military bases, and there ain't shit we can do about it. I mean, they could fly over anywhere in the U.S. and inflict some damage to us or steal our secrets or whatnot, and there ain't shit we can do about it. Fuck, man. That might be scarier than the fucking being gunned down over your job, or fucking having ISIS living next door. I don't know. To think that at any given moment we could have a all-out fucking drone war in the sky that it kills us all. You know? Fucking crazy. And how are they all connected? Because they've all happened, and we watch, and we just take it as normal. We don't get too excited about it. Life goes on. I just have a hard time accepting that the new normal, you know, it's the new normal. We just have to accept it. Just bend over and take it up the ass because it's the new normal. I just don't accept that. The old normal is pretty great. I grew up in the 80s. The Cold War was still going on. I guess we had fighters over there fighting on Afghanistan fields and all that shit. We didn't accept shit, you know. We didn't accept shit when they blew up our Twin Towers. George Bush comes out and he's like, hey, we're going to go fucking get these assholes. And we stood behind and said, yes, let's go get these fucking assholes. And here we are, not 25 years later, and it's okay to just cruise around in a truck with your ISIS flag flying, because if we speak up, we're ridiculed for it. And that new normal is fucking bullshit. And I promise, I'm not going to be as political or as crazy in the next few episodes. I really want to be a lot more lighthearted. Anyhow, I just can't thank you enough for tuning into the inaugural episode of It's the New Normal with Adam Brandt, a.k.a. the Chubby Snowbird. And if you'd like to follow along, Chubby Snowbird is my handle on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, where we can discuss some of the shit we talked about today. I look forward to next week. Peace out.